real estate agent. Working with real estate agents for about 1997, I think so. Since 1997. And, from doing this for so long, I hear your fears, your concerns when it comes to utilizing social media, your online presence. So this class is gonna be super informative. Hopefully you leave here today more inspired, more comfortable, with the knowledge of, social media and your online presence. All right, so again, a little background about me. I am from Massachusetts, so I'm a bit ways away from home, but we love Utah. We love coming here. It's the first time I've been here this time of year. Still beautiful, but the winter is spectacular. We love it here in the winter. Brandon, working with me for about 3.5, almost 4 years now. Teaching these classes, and we teach them all over in offices, in associations, and in MLSs. And he owns his own business. He's a gym owner. He's an entrepreneur, so it's a great job with that as well. Talking him up.
So we don't know how to figure out how to get. Kate's here, she's our tech person. Kind of. It just can't figure out how to get his.
All right, so I'll just go. So, one thing, so a couple housekeeping things, if you guys could please put your phone on silence, that would be great. If you do have to take call, we'll have to sign it quick because this is a 2-hour CE test. If you need CE, real quick call, okay? You don't need your computers for the class. It is not your laptop, if you're doing this, do that. We typically don't let you have your computers open, but if you do need it to take notes, don't have any issue with that. But you are definitely gonna want to take notes. We're gonna give you a ton of information. So if you need paper, raise your hand, and we'll get you some paper, pen, paper, okay. Can you get paper? Okay, also, we do not email this presentation out. Okay, we do not email this presentation out, we definitely can't, because it's too big of a file, first of all, and it is proprietary to us. However, if you do want to take pictures of the slides, that's completely fine, and a lot of agents do that, and take notes as well. We just have one really big favor, you are gonna take pictures of the slide, and I'm in it, my left side.
My left side's also my good side, please.
Just kidding. So, and we also will have, we have a pretty good sized group here today. We will have a Q&A session after every couple slides, okay? If you have a question, go ahead and write it down, and wait for those Q&A, because a lot of times you have a question and someone raises their hand and they look at the question and we're gonna answer it on the next slide. Okay, so if you guys could write it down, if you guys are good with that, great. All right.
Would it,
I'm wondering if it's just, if you just.
I don't remember what the next slide is.
Usually my two.
General sense?
Did we have the other one up? Yeah, the other one was running.
All right, so let me get a, something next time. Oh, no, ethics and legal. We'll wait for that.
we can,
All right, so let me get a general sense of who I have, or who we have here with us today. How many of you have some form of social media? Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn? All right, keep your hand up. How many of you feel you use it to its fullest potential when it comes to your real estate business? Okay, well, that's why we're all here today. That is the typical, agent, it's really everybody, but that your hands will go down, okay? So that being said, what I want you to do is I want you to write down, everybody has paper, write down, what do you think your 2 biggest weaknesses are? When it comes to, really having a robust, online presence or social media presence, social media presence.
We need that one.
okay, we're good.
We're
Oh.
cute.
There
we go. How long we got?
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Extra.
Brave enough to share one with us. Group.
What was the question? Who's brave enough to share?
Biggest weakness when it comes to utilizing social media. Okay.
Making videos.
Videos, oh, that's a big one, we get that all the time. Time is a big one too. It does take a lot of time, right, to be on all these platforms. Anybody else?
Lack of consistency,
Yeah, that's a big one.
Huge one.
You hear that every day, right?
and then posts that don't align with your with your brand.
Branding. So branding is a big one as well. Yep. Let me go over that. Anybody else?
Lack of desire.
Yep.
I like it.
Needs to be done, but boy,
You know, like,
Yep.
I think that kind of comes to a lot of times to time. I don't wanna have the time to do it, I'm not interested in it, or even knowledge is a big one, right? But what about content? That's a big one too. You know, what's the best content to post? What's gonna get me the best results and engagement? Okay, we're gonna cover all of that here with you today.
All right. Let's officially kick it off. Okay, you know,
Alright, go ahead.
is there enough room over there? Okay. All right, guys. So the top 7 platforms that we find give agents the best return on investment for the time, energy, or even money that they're putting into it, but very few agents are actually utilizing their online marketing strategy. And we're gonna cover all of these today, but it's gonna be your website and blog. Obviously, we're gonna talk about Facebook, X, which used to be called Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Now, the first thing I'll tell you is you should be on every single one of these platforms. And I know that might feel a little bit overwhelming, and listen, it's certainly time consuming. But if we take a look at this list and we break it down, each one of these generally has a different demographic of people that are spending time on their day to day. For example, Facebook is where Generation X and baby boomers are spending a lot of time. Twitter and Instagram is where millennials are at. LinkedIn is your professional network. And whenever Pam and I work with agents, we kind of go down this list and we always hear, yeah, I have my Facebook page and gosh, I think I might have set up a Twitter like 4 or 5 years ago, but I don't know what the password is. I haven't posted anything. And I get it, it can be a lot of work, but there's zero value to just having a profile. You have to be active and consistent in order for it to make a difference in your business, and it will. So as we go through class, we're going to talk about it in 2 big chunks. Number 1 is going to be how to increase your overall SEO value so you show up well in Google. And does anyone know what SEO stands for?
Search engine optimization.
Yeah, search engine optimization. And then the second part is going to be how to increase your overall social media value. So both of these, that Google search engine optimization and social media, really are equally as important, and they work hand in hand for your overall online presence. So I think social media, this is staying top of mind with people you already know. And then Google is going to be, if somebody hears that Tiffany's a great agent to work with, they're going to do a quick Google search. So you have to think, if somebody does do a Google search, how are you showing up? Do you show up with correct contact information? Are you showing value you can add to a transaction? All of these things are crucial. So we'll talk a lot about social media, but let's start with SEO. The number 1 way to start to increase your SEO, read your blogging.
Do I have any bloggers here today? No bloggers? All right, well, I think you don't know what a blog is, right? A blog is kind of like an online newsletter, and it's designed to make you look like you're an expert in something. And you've all seen blogs, whether you realize it or not. There's cooking blogs, organization blogs, fashion blogs, real estate blogs. You're an expert in real estate. But what's the whole benefit of doing it? You know, why do it? The whole benefit of blogging is content building. And you've all heard this before, I'm sure. Content's king. But what does that even mean? That means anytime that you post content to a blog platform, it forces the search engines to re-index, reanalyze your blog, potentially placing it higher up in the search engines. So that's again what the search engines are crawling, is that content. So now you know what a blog is and the benefit of doing it. Where do you start? Well, I always say, if you have a website, go take a look at your website. A lot of times websites nowadays do have blogging capabilities right inside of it. That would be the best place to blog to create the highest SEO, which we'll talk about more when we talk about websites. And then also, but there's also other platforms out there. There's WordPress.com, WordPress.net, Blogger.com. So you can even just Google it. Okay. So now you know what platform you're going to blog on. What are you going to blog about?
Real quick, Pam, just
Yeah.
click the next button.
No, it's not working. Okay. So probably blog some real estate information. I think everybody in here is a real estate agent, right? Yeah. So what about blogging some real estate information? But to be an effective blogger, you always want to listen. Listen to what your sphere of influence is asking you all the time. What are they asking you? You know, should I stage my home? Do I need a home inspection? What's a buyer's agent? Do I need a buyer's agent? You know, all these questions they're asking you, they're probably also asking Google and the search engines. So blog that information. Now, I don't suggest you just blog all real estate information. Blog things like DIY projects, you know, how to paint your room to make it look bigger. You know, kitchen organization, which I'm very interested. you know, closet shelving, like all that great stuff, even something as simple as recipes, right? Everybody loves recipes. So that's great content for your blog. But also, what about showcasing your local expertise? Okay. And we'll call that hyper local content. What's going on in the towns, areas, and communities that you specialize your business? Your clients and prospects actually expect you to know what's going on in those areas and communities that you specialize in. You guys agree with that? Right? Maybe there's a 5K road race, or there's a festival coming up, or even a big one. 4th of July. Where can I go see the fireworks? You know, where's the best place to go? What time are they? Where do I park? You know, all that great hyper local content. And then also, what about blogging your listings? Now, I know you take your listings, put them into MLS, which you all should be doing. But when you do that, it takes your listing, puts it into a database-driven format, takes your listing, puts it across 1 million plus different websites all at one time. They're all changing on everybody's website right now. Well, Google and the search engines will avoid database-driven platforms. So instead, I want you to think about blogging your listings. About all the real estate rich keywords in a listing: single family home, condo, you know, waterfront, 123 Main Street, all those great keywords. So blog that content. All right, question for you guys. What is the first question someone asks you when they find out you're a real estate agent? How's the market, right? How's the market? So why not blog market reports? I know you could probably get those right from your MLS. Grab that information from your MLS, post it to your blog. Hey, here's what happened in Lehigh. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Lehigh, you know, last month. You know, and write me, hey, here's, you know, your home is worth, you know, and put a link over to your website and to the market analysis, right? We can get some business from it, but it's everything everybody wants to know. Now, a concern I've heard for many years is, well, you know, I get the whole idea of blogging, I love it, but I'm not a good writer. I'm not creative, I can't do it. Or I'm a real estate agent, I absolutely do not have time for that. So you can actually have other people blog for you. You all work with different business professionals, right? You work with lenders, lawyers, home inspectors, builders, right? So why not go to your lender and say, hey, can you know, write me a couple paragraphs on what's going on with the interest rates? Everybody wants to know that. Or what's the best loan for a first-time home buyer or a second home? And let them know, hey, you know, I'm going to take your content that you give me. I'm going to put a link back over to your website. I'm going to post it on my real estate blog. You might even get some business from it. You think your lenders would do that? Yeah, absolutely, right? They want your business. Sure.
Yeah, guys, the other thing that you can do is you can start to lean on AI. So how many of you in here have used AI before? Whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini, okay, pretty much everyone. So if you didn't raise your hand, AI is kind of the overarching technology of artificial intelligence. And then within that, there's all different products. ChatGPT is probably the most well-known product, but all of them are essentially the same idea. They're trained on a massive amount of data. And then when you put in a prompt where it says send a message down here, it brings back information based on everything that it's been trained on. But what a lot of people don't know is most of these free versions of AI were trained at either the end of 2022 or beginning of 2023, which means if you go to the free version of ChatGPT and you say, make me a blog about what's going on with interest rates right now, it doesn't know because it was trained back then. And the free version specifically don't bring in what's going on. Now you can subscribe to it. You can pay $19.99 a month and it does bring in more current information. But if you're just using this here and there and using the free one, know that it's not going to bring in today's info. Now, that being said, you could still do the research. You could say, okay, interest rates just changed from this to this. Here's how I think it's going to affect the local market. And AI can help you create paragraph structure, or you can use this to get ideas. But the value of what you put in down as the prompt is directly correlated to the value of what you're going to get back out. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. You could go to ChatGPT and you could say, give me ideas to create content for my real estate blog, and it'll list out some ideas. Or you can say, I'm a real estate agent in Lehigh, Utah, and I'm looking to build up the SEO on my website. Give me 10 SEO rich ideas. Be sure to incorporate market trends, hyper local information, DIY projects, all of those things Pam was just talking about. Tell AI you want to include those specific ideas, and you are going to get a much better response because I followed these guidelines. So first of all, when you're creating your prompts, you want to make sure you're clear and specific and provide context of who you are, where you're located and exactly what you're looking for. Because if I say I'm an agent in Miami, I should be posting different content than if I'm an agent in Utah. Would you guys agree with that? So you want to make sure you're giving that context. And then from there, specify the format. I said, give me 10 ideas, but you could say, create a 20 paragraph blog with this. You could say, respond to this email in just 2 sentences. You define the format that you want it to come back in. And you can also consider the tone. Might be a little bit hard to see, but this first example right here, this is how AI usually brings back information. It's very formal. It uses a lot of big words. And if that's how you want your blog content to sound, great. You can certainly use that. But if not, you can say, okay, I like what you're saying, but make this a little bit more casual, or make this a little bit more of a friendly tone. And then the second one, it's starting to incorporate emojis and more kind of laid back language like savvy. So you can start to actually define what you want your marketing language to be, to start to build up your brand rather than just using big robotic words. You can start to specify it for you. But the most important thing on this slide is you always need to go back through and review and correct the information. Because those of you that have used AI before know this is still new technology. It does still make mistakes, and anything that you put out there not only represents you as an agent, but it also represents your entire brokerage. So you need to make sure you're following fair housing laws, MLS rules and regulations, and obviously just make sure information in general is accurate and it actually makes sense. I'm gonna pause here for a second. Any questions on this AI piece?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have a preference on I'll just say the big three, Chat GPT, Gemini, or Copilot, Microsoft's? Do you have a preference?
I have the most experience in ChatGPT. I feel like from what I have gathered, ChatGPT is more well-rounded for a lot of different things like images, research, everything. DeepSeek specifically is really, really good for in-depth research. But from what I would say for general marketing stuff like you guys would be using it for, ChatGPT seems to be a really good, well-rounded, and takes into account some real estate specific things. So I would recommend ChatGPT, but all of them will work great. Yeah, great question.
I just want to make a comment on the MLS. When you put your pictures in, make sure you edit whatever description it gives it, because it'll put some really weird things in there. So don't just go with what the AI says.
You're talking about like captions and stuff?
Yeah, it'll,
Yeah.
like when you put your pictures, upload them, it'll give a description.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it'll say like parquet floors when it's obviously
No.
not. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
You just gotta double check it, cause it does make mistakes.
Yeah, and it does also bring along metadata now. So like still with SEO, using AI doesn't have a big negative impact, but eventually it's going to. So I do not recommend using this as the be all end all. Don't just copy and paste it. You should still try and make some adjustments to better fit you and your branding. But again, this can be a great tool to just make your day more productive and get more done. So, okay, back to a couple of blogging guidelines.
All right, so a blog, you want to be consistently blogging a minimum of about once per week. Anything less than that can actually hurt you in the search engines, and quite honestly, just doesn't look very professional. It hurts you in the search engines because Google does not want to link to a dead or inactive blog. So once per week is sufficient. A blog is typically about 3 to 5 paragraphs. That seems to be the sweet spot for Google and the search engines. But always make sure you incorporate a visual or photo with your blog. More people will actually read your blog if you put a photo with it instead of just a whole bunch of wording. So put a photo with it. Make sure you have some form of lead capture. That could be something as simple as a subscribe button, a contact me button that I can go fill out a form, or just your contact information displayed on the blog. But I want you to think about how important that is. Let's say that you blogged a new listing, okay? Like we just talked about. And I find your blog because remember blogs have super high SEO. I see that listing, I'm interested, I want more information. You need to have a way to capture my information, or I need a way to get in touch with me, okay? And then finally, don't keep your blog just residing on your blog platform. You want to take your blog and share it across all of your social media, okay? Couple different benefits for doing that. Number one, you're increasing the SEO value. The more places you share that blog, the more relevant it becomes in Google and the search engines. Because if you're sharing this article to all these different places, it must be pretty important. Also, you're reaching a much larger audience. Remember what Brandon talked about, different demographic on each one of those platforms, but you're also developing great brand recognition and top of mind marketing. Okay, so multiple benefits. Any questions on blogging? Do we have like a whole room?
We got
full of
15
new bloggers?
bloggers in here today.
Yeah.
If you're starting your blog. Okay, awesome. So this first piece right here, remember, this is all about how you're showing up in Google. If you're not showing up in one of the first spots, the reality is people aren't going to keep going page to page. So doing that work is super important. But now let's move on to Facebook. So still to this day, Facebook is the #1 social platform. There's still over 3 billion users on here. And out of those 3 billion users, about 70% log in 6 to 10 times per day for an average of 5 to 13 minutes each session. It's a lot of time on social media. But if this is where your past clients and this is where your friends and family are spending time, you definitely want to make sure you have a good presence on here. But first thing we need to talk about is having a business page versus a personal page. So how many of you guys actually have a business page set up for your real estate business? Okay, just about everyone. If you don't have your hand up, that's your homework for tonight, because technically you are not allowed to do business on a personal page. It actually goes against Facebook's rules and regulations. And if they catch you doing it, they can put you in Facebook jail. Sounds a little bit silly, but it is a real place. They'll suspend your account. You have to go through a whole process to get it back up and running. And if they catch you doing it enough on your personal page, they can totally deactivate it where you have to start from scratch. So don't risk it. The only rule is that you have to start by posting on your business page. You can always share it to personal from there, but it needs to start on business. Now on Facebook, just like with blogging, the key to success here is again, consistency. With Facebook though, you should be posting between 2 and 5 times per week, but you don't want to be posting just any random content. You really want to post content that's actually relevant and valuable to your followers. So what does that look like? Well, I'll tell you, Pam and I go to agents' Facebook pages just about every day, doing online presence reviews. And generally we see kind of the same trend. Most agents are mainly posting new listing, open house price change sold. New listing, open house price change sold. Everything specifically about listings. And though I love that agents are posting about listings, I want you to think, if that's the only content that's going on your page, who are the only people that are going to actually find that relevant and valuable?
People who are buying or selling.
People who are looking to buy or sell right now. The reality is though, most people on your page are not looking to buy or sell right now. For your sake, hopefully someday they will be, but most aren't right now. So you need to post more content that we call value-based content. For value-based, think, does it motivate, inspire, inform, educate, or entertain? And the general breakdown should be about 80% of that value-based, only about 20% posting about your listings, trying to get a lead, trying to make a sale. Most agents right now are doing the exact opposite. So you want to lead with that good value-based content, but then question becomes, okay, well, what kind of content would that be? What about all those blogs Pam was just talking about? Blogs on market trends, DIY projects, buyer and seller tips, local community information. All of this content is great, but a lot of times when we talk about this, agents will tell us, oh yeah, Brandon, I got articles going on a ton of articles going on my Facebook. I pay a company, they do it all for me. And so I go on there and I look, it's true, they have a lot of articles going on there, but they're coming from sources like HGTV or Keeping Current Matters is a big one, Back at You Media, or sometimes even from Zillow. So I want you to think, if I click on that article from Zillow, where's it going to take me? Zillow, the last place you want to be sending your prospects. But big companies like Zillow, that's their goal. They create a lot of good free content because they want you to share it on your page. They want your followers to click on it. Your followers go over to Zillow. Zillow's hoping they can capture that lead and sell it right back to you or another agent next month in a zip code. So how do we avoid that? Well, when you're posting this content, you need to make sure you're posting it as what we call self-branded. Meaning when I click on it, it takes me back to your blog, takes me back to your website and keeps me under the umbrella of your business. So if we take a look at these two examples right here, on the left side, this 9 gated features, if I click on this, it's taking me to hgtv.com, I'm out. You lost me. I'm with a totally different company. Whereas this one on the right, home price is still growing. If I click on this, it takes me to janedoerealestate.com, and that's this agent's real estate website. So I just went from Jane's Facebook page to her real estate website, builds up her SEO from getting more traffic, brands her as the real estate expert rather than HGTV, and it keeps me within the walls of her business. Now, if you do it like Pam said, if you post on your website first and then you share it, that makes it self-branded, but that's the trick. It has to start on your website. So #1 strategic thing, you want to drive people back to your site. But in addition to that, you do want to also try and post some photos and videos. photos and videos on average are gonna get about 40% higher engagement than text post alone. And the reason for that is because if I follow your page, I wanna see a little bit about you. I wanna see your smile. I wanna hear your voice. Zig Ziglar said it best. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Exactly. So showcase what makes you uniquely you. Now, maybe this doesn't mean you're just walking around taking selfies all the time, but maybe you have pets. I'm sure a lot of you in here have pets. Post pictures of your dogs. You know how many other dog lovers there are that would love to just see cute pictures of your pets and connect with you on that level? Or maybe you're into fashion or interior design. Post about those things that light you up, because the goal is that you connect with your followers first as a human. That increases the algorithm value. And then when you're posting about your listings 20% of the time, people are actually seeing it because they're interacting with your other stuff. So photos and videos are great. Also, you want to try and go live on Facebook 2 times per year. How many of you guys have gone live in here before? See some of you guys shaking your heads. I don't want to go live. I get it. It can be nerve-wracking, but the benefit of going live is it again increases that algorithm value. When you go live on Facebook, Facebook wants people to join into your live feed. And so they're going to always send a notification to your followers. And the second thing is when people are scrolling, they are always going to show your live feed to any of your followers who are scrolling at that time. Now, when it comes to Facebook Live, if you've never done it before, a great way to get your feet wet is next time you have an open house. About an hour or so beforehand, go live on your page. Give them a tour of the property. Talk a little bit about the community that it's in. Maybe talk a little bit about the market. But I want you to think about how powerful that could be. I could be at my apartment in Chicago on a Saturday morning just drinking coffee, and I could attend an open house right here with you in Utah. And the best part about it is it's interactive. So as you're giving that tour, I can ask questions. I can say, hey, show me the backyard one more time. Or show me how big the closets are in the primary. More homes have been sold sight unseen over the past 4 to 5 years. And I'm telling you, Facebook Live is a huge part of that. So these first things we've talked about, self-branded content, photos and videos, Facebook Live, this is all part of that 80% value base. Now, of course, you do have to still post about your listings, right? 20% of the time, you have to try and get leads, try and make sales. When you do post about them, there's a right way to do it, and then there's a not so great way. Let's start with the not so great way.
So I don't know if this looks familiar to anybody, but typically, I mean, this came from my newsfeed. Typically what happens is, agents know the power of Facebook. They get all excited or I don't know if anybody does this, but you take a bunch of pictures, you put it on Facebook, you say something like, hey, everybody, check out my new listing, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, home, price to sell, won't last, call me if you're interested. And you put your phone number. Well, I love your posting. I think it's great. Couple problems with a post like this. So if I start scrolling through these photos, do you have any way of knowing that I'm doing that? No, right? There's no lead capture. Or what if I need school information or tax information? Can I get it from a post like this? No. So I have to go somewhere else. But here's the worst part. What if you sparked my interest in real estate? Wow, I didn't realize I could afford that area, but I can. But I don't need a 3-bedroom. I only need a 2-bedroom. Can I search properties from a post like this? So where am I going? Right, probably one of the national portals. So all those things you don't want to have happen. So instead, a better way to post your listings is what we call an optimized post. Okay. And all an optimized post is a link to a website, blog, or landing page. Any one of those 3 does not matter. But it absolutely needs to have these 3 key factors. It needs to have lead capture, so I can capture your information. It needs to have full listing sheet, so if I wanted that school or tax information, I can get it. And it also needs to have MLS IDX searching capabilities so that I can search the entire MLS in case that's not the property that I'm looking for, okay? Here's an example of one, and there's all different formats. It's just one format. Title, photo, short description. I click this link, it brings me back over to that website, blog, or landing page where there is lead capture, full listing sheet, and MLS IDX searching capabilities. So can everybody see the difference here of I post my listings to Facebook and I optimize my listings to Facebook? Because when I optimize my listings to Facebook, I'm driving traffic back to the website. I can get all the information about the listing, search the entire MLS, where this one over here, it's just a hope and a prayer that that phone's going to ring. that minor tweak can bring much greater results when it comes to getting leads from your social media. Okay, everybody see the difference there, right? Okay, now, it's not good enough to set up platforms, not be active and consistent, but it's also not good enough to not grow your following. Okay, you need to grow your following on your Facebook. Couple different ways you can do that. You can create and promote your Facebook handle everywhere. Your Facebook handle is facebook.com/your page name. All right, and when I say everywhere, you want to think like everywhere you put your name, business cards, letterhead, postcards, email signatures. You know, more times than not, people will actually connect with you via Facebook before they'll even pick up that phone and call you. You guys agree with that? Yeah, so make it easy for me. Also, you can share from your business to your personal. Maybe you wrote a great article about where the fireworks are. Share it to your personal page and say something like, hey, if you like this article, go follow me on my business page. So ask your sphere to like your business page. You can also invite your friends from your personal page to like your business page. It used to be it was one at a time that you'd have to invite them to your page. Now there's one button that you can invite everybody. Okay. And then also you can use other avenues like video, for those of you who love video, video marketing. You can do text marketing or even email marketing. You know, and a lot of times your email marketing list sometimes is different than what your social media following is. So why not do an email blast to your entire sphere with email marketing? But everything we've been talking about here today, you know, photos, videos, blog posts, listings, growing your following, all this is huge to help create top of mind marketing. You never want to go into your newsfeed, see a real estate transaction that happened with someone you're connected with, and it didn't include you. And they're like, they knew I was a real estate agent, right? It's not that they didn't like you, it's that you didn't create top of mind. Okay, so let me give you a great example of this. About 14 years ago now, I hired a power washing company to come power wash my house in Massachusetts. And he offered me a discount to like him on Facebook. So I did because I wanted the discount, right? But because I don't really care what a power washing company is putting on their Facebook page. But I'll tell you what, I still see him in my newsfeed every couple weeks, every couple months. So if anybody asks me, Pam, do you know of a power washing company in Massachusetts? Yes, I do. It's ABL Power Washers, Millbury, Massachusetts, like that. That's after doing business with him 14 years ago. One time. I could still tell you who he is. That's where you need to get your business, right? Grow your following, post consistently. So when they think real estate, you're the name that comes to top of mind. Isn't that the whole game of real estate, being in front of home buyers and sellers when they're ready to buy or sell? Where are we 6 to 10 times a day? Facebook. Okay.
Okay, before we move on to paid advertising, does anyone have questions on this initial organic part? All good? Okay, so, yeah, question.
So you're saying that post business things on Facebook, you're supposed to have a business Facebook.
Yeah.
Correct. And the reason for that is because business pages have additional protections for you. Like if you're creating a listing promotion and you create a video that has Taylor Swift's music in it, if that's posted on your personal page with Taylor Swift's music, that's illegal. And you can get sued because you don't have license to use her music. So on business pages, they actually have safeguards where if you post copyright music, they're going to mute it, they're going to take it down so you don't get in legal trouble. Personal pages don't have that. So it's a lot easier to open yourself up to legal issues. And also the business pages, you can do paid advertising and some additional things that we talk about to grow your business. Personal is really just supposed to be for entertainment and connecting with your friends.
Okay, and then like to build one, it's pretty easy to connect your contacts to it that you had on your personal page.
So unfortunately, there's not a way to just transfer them over, but these things that Pam just talked about, you can just click an invite button and you can invite 1,000 of your personal friends per day. So I would start there, right when you create it. It is very straightforward to create, but start by inviting all of your friends. And then from there, you want to share content over all of these things that Pam was just talking about. So you can showcase the value that you are adding on there.
So there's a way to do it. You have to do it individually, or what did you say?
They push one button.
You can invite 1,000 at a time. Just click invite all, it'll send it to the first 1,000.
Gotcha.
Tomorrow, click invite all, send it to the second 1,000. You can only invite once every so often, so you just wanna go through your whole list. Yeah, good question.
Thanks.
Any other questions on organic? Okay, so these first things that Pam talked about, this is all free ways to get more people. These are people you're already connected with, but how do you grow your business with people you don't yet know? And that's where you have to pay. So on Facebook, you can pay with either a boost or an ad. How many of you guys in here have run a boost or an ad before? Okay, if you haven't, I would recommend start with a boost. It's a lot easier to create and work your way up to an ad. Key difference between the two is when you're boosting, this is something that you've posted on your profile that you want to pay to get in other people's newsfeed, which is where they're actually scrolling. An ad, on the other hand, think of that more of like an online billboard. Ads can show up all over both Facebook and Instagram, and they can show up all over the platforms. So they can show up in stories, Facebook Marketplace, Instagram stories, all over both of them. We are going to go through how to create a boost today. Unfortunately, we don't have time for an ad. But if you want more step-by-step resources for the more advanced one with the ad, just go to facebook.com/business. And they have a ton of great tutorials, a lot of great tips and tricks for the real estate industry. So facebook.com/business. But with a boost, anytime you post something on your business page, you'll notice this blue button pops up that says boost post. When you click on that, it's going to bring up a screen and start asking you some questions. First thing it wants to know is what are the results you want from this? What's your objective? This could be to get as much exposure as possible. It could be to sell products if you're a retail company. For real estate, your objective should almost always be website visits. And the reason for that is because the way that you get most of your leads is when people are already able to do some of their own research and then they need you to step in and help. If they just see an ad and the goal is just call now, most people don't feel comfortable calling a random agent if they don't know anything about you or they haven't started any of their process. So you want to get people back to your website first. They can see all of that, and that's where you're going to capture the leads. Second thing you want to put on there is what's your call to action button. That's this button right here. This can be call now, but I always recommend this is learn more. It's a very non-committal way to get somebody to that next step on your website so they can start searching. And then it starts to get interesting. Then you can select your audience. So this is where you're choosing the specific target demographic that you want to get in front of. Now, if it's housing related, you do have to make sure you're following all fair housing laws. You can't target super specific groups here. But if you create just a great blog about 15 fun things to do this summer, well, you can target people who are looking to buy homes here, who have families, who have like specific demographic. If it's not housing related, that's where there's a little bit more flexibility. Select your budget, how much you want to spend, select how long you want it to run for. Now, if you're just getting started, I would recommend start between 2 and 7 days. 2 is enough to actually see some results. If you've never done it before, don't go longer than 7 because you can waste a lot of money and you don't have a chance to re-optimize it until it's done. So 2 to 7, you submit it, it goes to the Facebook review team, and then at the end of your ad, you're going to get a little results page. So for this example right here, this agent was trying to get more specifically seller leads. So she sold a property. She created a blog on her website about the story, all the keywords with that property, and then shared the blog to her business page. When she was choosing the targeting, she dropped a pin on the specific address that listing was located and set it for a 15-mile radius. Now, if you are doing housing related, 15 miles is the minimum when you're trying to set a specific radius. You can't go super small there. And then over here, you see the results. So she only ran this for 2 days. She spent $40 and she reached 4,148 people. How many of you in here have ever done print marketing, like sent out mailers? Anyone? How much would it cost to send out 4,148 mailers? $3,000, $2,500, depending on the size. So I mean, you compare that $40 for 4,000 on Facebook compared to thousands if you're doing print marketing. And listen, I'm not saying print marketing is bad. There's definitely agents that have had good success. But if you think about it, somebody receives the postcard, they look at it, they say, oh, Shirley sold another home. And then where does it go? Hopefully recycling, because we printed out a lot of them. But it goes to recycling bin. It's 2 to 3 seconds. If you do something on Facebook, it's the same exposure. They're scrolling through, they look at it for 2 to 3 seconds. They might keep scrolling, or they might click on it, end up on your website, and start learning about you. So big difference in price. Again, both can be successful, but if you have a low marketing budget, start on social media. You can start to grow your following and get in front of a lot of people. If your goal is to get seller leads, another thing that you can do is create an ad like this that offers a free home valuation. Send them right back to that spot on your website to get that. If you're looking for buyer leads, you would want to offer for people to search for active listings in a specific area. So if Lehigh is the main demographic that you want to target, say search all homes in Lehigh, Utah now. When they click on it, go to that part of your website that already has filters preset, so they're seeing all of those. It is really important that you target a specific area here, because if somebody sees just search all homes for sale, it seems very big corporation, and most people don't like that. They want to work with somebody that's local. And then the third option is if you're just trying to get more exposure, make a blog about a hyper-local activity and target people who are living here or who are visiting. So as you can see, all different ways that you can get leads coming in. Last thing I want to do though is compare this to some other forms that you could spend money to get leads, like national portals. National portals, you could buy leads through Zillow, Realtor, any of those. And the key difference here is national portals in general are going to be more competitive and more expensive. There's a minimum ad spend that you'll have to invest. And it's competitive because if you're not the first person on the list, if you're fourth or fifth, well, that agent's contact information has already gone to 4 or 5 other agents before it got to you, which means you might try and reach out to them, but there's 5 or 6 people also trying to contact. So that's where the competitive aspect comes in. If you're doing it on Facebook, you're setting it up to drive people right back to your website. So if somebody fills out a lead capture form, you know it's exclusive to you. It's not being shared with anyone else. One other key difference is just the group of people you're getting in front of. On Zillow, you're getting in front of people who are searching on Zillow. On Facebook, you're getting in front of people who are scrolling on Facebook. In general, Facebook is a lot more people, but one thing to note is if you get a lead on Facebook, it's probably going to take longer for that lead to actually close. You may need to do more work marketing and keeping them warm. On Zillow, generally, they're a little bit further along in the buyer process, but then there's that difference in price. So again, not saying one's better than the other, but whatever your marketing budget is, start small. As you start to grow, maybe add some additional forms from there. Any questions on this piece? Yeah.
Sorry, simple question, but like, I look at Facebook daily and, see different shorts and things on it. And I guess some of them are making money, just like, and so they probably have a business. How do you tell if what you're looking at, that person has a business account? So does that matter?
So usually, like if it's a business account, if you go to that page, it would say like whatever the industry is, real estate agent or whatever their title is. But the key indicator, if it says like or follow, that's business. If it says add as friend, that's going to be personal.
Gotcha.
So it's
okay.
friends versus followers.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep. All right, let's keep moving on with it.
All right, so how many people in here have a LinkedIn profile? How many are actively posting to the activities? Finish my sentence? So LinkedIn is a business network, right? 930 million people on there. There's so many people. Pretty much everybody has a LinkedIn. It also has very, very high SEO. And what do I mean by that? I could probably guarantee if I were to Google anybody's name here in this room, on page 1 of Google will be your LinkedIn. Maybe not in the first spot, but on page 1. That could be a positive or a negative. Home buyers and sellers typically are referred more than one agent, and they're going to do their homework, right? They're going to Google you before they meet you. And if I Google you and the first thing to come up is your LinkedIn and it's all inactive, and the other agent is all active and up to date, who am I going to use? Probably the active agent, okay? So there is an activity log in LinkedIn where you can post content. So what kinds of content should you be posting? All those blog articles that I was talking about, blogs on DIY projects, blogs on real estate content, blogs on market reports, even recipes are fine on LinkedIn as well. So all those blog articles should be going to your LinkedIn. And then also listings. A lot of agents will say to us, like, well, should I post my listings onto LinkedIn? Is that appropriate? It's a business network and that is your business. So it is absolutely appropriate to post all of your listing status changes And you want to post them again as those optimized posts, driving traffic back to your website, hopefully. And then also testimonials, client testimonials, those are great to post onto here as well. And then also LinkedIn is an appropriate place for you to kind of brag about yourself. You know, maybe you won an award, or you were agent of the month, or you even just get recognized for something great you did in your community. You know, post that content onto LinkedIn. But a concern I hear a lot is, well, Pam, I'm on LinkedIn, but all these agents, they want to connect with me. You know, why in the world would I want to do that? I'm going to tell you there's far more benefit to connecting to other agents. LinkedIn is the #1 agent to agent referral platform. Okay, #1. So maybe you're connected with, I don't know, any other towns around here. Maybe you're connected with someone like way, I don't even know if we're north, whatever. That's far away from here, right? Maybe 4 or 5 hours from here. And they see you posting all the time, and they know someone that wants to move to the Lehigh area. They can potentially give you that referral, and we hear it all the time in our live events, okay? So it's totally great to do that. So let me give you a great example how an agent friend of mine connected to agents, okay, and the benefit. So my friend Danielle, she moved down to Sarasota, Florida area about 7 years ago. No, 8 years ago. And then she was down there for about 1.5 years, and I was working down there, so I went and met her for lunch, and I said, Danielle, how's business? Because you know, moving to a new area is like starting your business from scratch, okay? She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I said, well, how'd you do it? She said, LinkedIn. What she did was she connected to all the agents up in Massachusetts, sent them a message, said, hey, everybody, I moved down to Florida. If you know anybody looking to move down here, send them my way. If I know anybody looking to move from Florida up to Massachusetts, no one does that. Right? A little bit, not a lot. Right? But she gets tons of business from it. So again, if you are not active on LinkedIn, you are actually missing a huge opportunity to grow your business. Also, one other thing I would absolutely make sure, if you haven't visited your LinkedIn in years, or even a year, whatever it may be, go check out your profile, make sure it's up to date. And I say that because I met with an agent and I went onto her profile and I said, oh, I thought you were a real estate agent. She's like, oh, I am. I said, well, your profile says you're a nurse and you work at such and such a hospital. Okay. And if I Googled, if I Googled her, she would have lost me. Okay. So make sure that your LinkedIn is up to date. Okay. Any questions on LinkedIn? Okay. Everybody's going to go check out their profile.
And if I could just add one more thing to that, as we start to talk about these different platforms, it's important that your branding is also matching up. If on one platform you have a specific cover photo and you have keywords in your bio and descriptions, it's important that you're matching that up on other platforms too, because these also have their own individual SEO value. And if you have specific skills connected to your account on here or specific keywords, people do also search on LinkedIn real estate agents near me, just like they do on Google. And having that set up correctly can be make it or break it if people actually find your profile. So make sure you're taking the time to go through every single box on there and fill it out to the fullest extent. All right, next one's Instagram. So as most of you know, Instagram is owned by Meta, which is the same parent company as Facebook. So same rules apply. You do need to have a business profile on here. Good news is if you currently have personal, you can just switch it to a business. You don't have to create a new one. On Instagram now though, key difference is everything has to be visual. You can't just upload a text status, it has to be a photo or a video. So when we think about Instagram, I want you to think about it in 2 separate sections. The first section is content that's actually on your profile, posts that are saved there forever. The second section is the stories. Stories are the bubbles at the top of the app. They only stay there for 24 hours. Now the key difference is on your profile, you want to be posting here 1 time per week. And this needs to be focused on content that shows value you can add to a transaction or hyper local connections. So content you should post on your profile is going to be all of your listings and listing activity, showcases your experience. If you have virtual tours to go along with that, definitely upload those to Instagram. And also community events. If you are attending any local community events or you're helping promote them, that looks great to prospects when they pull up your page. If you have client testimonials, create maybe just like a nice graphic in Canva or something showcasing the nice things that people have to say about you. First 4 on here, post on your profile. The goal is once per week. Now on your stories, you want to post 2 to 3 times per week, but the goal here is all about your personality. Because if somebody makes it to that point where they actually follow your page, really what they want to know is, what does this person look like, sound like, and what's their personality like? So you need to try and showcase that. On your story, you want to give people a look behind the scenes of what your life is like besides just closing transactions. So maybe you do like a day in the life of a real estate agent. Here's how I get my kids ready for school in the morning, and then here's how I go to my open house. Here's behind the scenes prep of what I do. Showcase what the process looks like, because that makes people feel more connected with you. And when people feel connected, they also feel comfortable. They feel comfortable to reach out. They feel like they already know who you are. So when they are ready for a transaction, they already like you. All right, 2 to 3 personality, 1 on your profile, and the goal there is mainly value. Now you'll notice TikTok isn't one of the top platforms that we talk about today. TikTok is a great platform. If you want to post on there, you absolutely can. But the difference between the two is if you're going to choose one, I would recommend Instagram. Both of these platforms have a value of an open algorithm, which means people can see your content even if they're not actually following your page. But if we think about the difference now, TikTok's more designed for entertainment purposes. You can make a funny video or an entertaining video, and people might go back to your profile to see what other funny things you have, but entertainment does not equal sales and growing your business. On the other hand, if people find one of your Instagram reels, this is also mainly entertaining, but now if they click on your profile, you already should be posting transaction history, all of your testimonials, all of your hyper local information. So now rather than just entertainment, in quick glance, you're showing value you can add to that transaction. If you want to post on both of them, totally fine. But if you're going to choose one, make that one Instagram. And then I also recommend take a quick picture of this slide. These are just specific settings that you really want to have set up correctly. First and foremost, if your page is currently a personal page, follow these steps, switch it to professional. You keep all of your same followers and everything, but now it just allows you to post business content and not get in trouble with it. Once you have it set as business, you can connect your Instagram and your Facebook business page. So when you post on one of them, it posts on both, save you some time. And then the final thing is you want to correctly set up your links in bio. So a key difference with Instagram is when you post about your listings, you can't necessarily just post about your listing and then include the link, because that hyperlink is going to be grayed out. Instagram doesn't let people click on links and captions. So you do still want to get people back to your website, but there's one extra step. When you're posting about your listings, you need to say, for more information on this listing, visit my link in bio. That tells people to go to your profile section where you can have up to 5 hyperlinks. So you do want to make sure these are going to all different spots on your website, your homepage, your blog, because you should be promoting some of your blog content about you. And then the 5th one, keep that open, where if you're promoting a specific listing at that time or a specific event, you can always adjust that one. Any questions on Instagram?
How do you get to the setting, the Instagram settings, like which area do you need?
If you click on, if you're specifically doing the links in bio, you're going to edit your profile. So in the bottom right, click on your profile icon and then edit profile. And then the other ones are in the 3 bars up top to get to settings. And also, if you need like step-by-step, YouTube has a ton of like super easy, quick tutorials to show you like quickly what to click on too. Good questions. Any other Instagram? All right, moving on to X.
All right, how many of you in here have a X or used to be Twitter, X account? Oh, a lot of agents don't want an X account. Here, I'm gonna try to change mine. So X or Twitter is, has super high SEO. And what do I mean by that is that all the posts that are on your X accounts can be found in the search engines. Okay, they're not called tweets anymore. Does anybody know what they're called? Posts. Okay, so posts can be found in the search engines. Also, a big demographic still to this day are millennials. And who are that? Biggest group of first-time home buyers, biggest group of first-time home sellers, and now biggest group of first-time second home buyers. Okay, so what kinds of content should you be posting to this platform? Your listings should be posted. always as optimized post. Also all those blog articles that we've been talking about again all afternoon. But you can't put 3 to 5 paragraphs on this platform. Or 280 character limit, so just put a little bit of information, put a link back over to the blog where I can continue reading, okay? Now, one thing is that you want to be posting to this platform about 2 to 3 times per week, okay? But you have to grow following. So what's a quick, easy way to do that? It's called follow for follow. So follow for follow is an online etiquette on X and Instagram, by the way, where you as an X account go follow other X account, and the etiquette is that they follow you back. So go follow your friends and family, go follow the, Presidio, go follow the associations, the MLSs, the police departments, fire departments, the nail salons, the hairdressers, everybody, okay? Now, if you go follow Jason Aldean and he doesn't follow you back, don't be offended, okay?
She's salty. She's still waiting for her phone.
Yeah. And they don't have to follow you, but the etiquette is that they do. So, I mean, if you're not on it, if you do nothing but post, if you don't want to go read anything or whatever, I would absolutely suggest that you do. It has a lot of SEO value, like I talked about. Okay. All right. Any questions on X? Okay, let's talk about Google. So Google owned video platform, super high SEO. You find out everything you need to know on YouTube. I have to admit, I tried to find out how to fold a fitted sheet on YouTube. I still cannot.
That's a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing. I can't. It's like put it in the drawer and shut it, right? It's a-
Hey,
Fold it. Anyway, so what kinds of what could you use this platform for? How about listing video tours? Okay. Now, I will tell you, it doesn't matter to Google whether you hire a photographer, you do an expensive drone video, or just take your phone, take a bunch of pictures and put music to it. It does not matter to Google. What does matter is that you always post the title and the description. You're prompted to do it, just don't skip it. If you skip it, there is no way of Google to find that video. Okay, title and description. Or maybe even doing educational videos. I have a friend, well, she's my Facebook friend, right? Every Monday, she does she's an agent, she does a house market Monday. I have another agent, Facebook friend, and she does where am I Wednesday? And she goes in all of her communities that she specializes in, and she says, where am I? Okay, it gets great interaction with that. But one of my best or my favorite ways for you guys to use this is maybe doing some video testimonials. Has anybody done any video testimonials? No? When do you think the best time to do a video testimonial is?
Right after you close.
Exactly, at the closing, right? Just finished the closing, just handed the keys to their dream home. They're so excited. Ask them, hey, can you do a quick video, 60 seconds or less, of how you like working with me? You can say 30 seconds, doesn't matter. How you like working with me. Not everybody's going to do it. Some will, some won't. Okay. But if your customer does do that video, they say, yes, I'm going to do it. You want to take that video and you want to share it across all of your social media. You want to tag them on Facebook, which I'm sure you're already connected with them on Facebook, but you want to tag them on Facebook. Now, all of their friends and family are going to see that video, see their excitement, hear their excitement. Whose name is attached to that video? Is that yours? Right? How great is that? So if you haven't done it, absolutely. You can go back to your past clients as well and ask them. Like I said, some won't do it and some will. But don't keep any videos that you create just on your YouTube channel. You want to take that and share it across all of your social media. Okay. Any questions on YouTube?
All right. We're getting towards the end. Are you guys still with us? I know it's a lot of information. Are you at least getting value out of it though?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So when we teach this class, we teach it in order of most important social platforms to most optional. YouTube is last on this list for a reason. I would not recommend spending 10 to 15 hours going around town recording, editing, doing special effects, everything together, unless you've already checked everything else from class off of your list. Because you are going to get far more value spending those same 10 to 15 hours building up your website, doing research for your blogs, connecting all of these profiles together than you will one video that may or may not get traction. But if you can strategically get everything else done and still make time for this, you can still get a lot of benefit. NAR recently did a study and they found that 73% of homeowners say they're more likely to list with a realtor that uses video to showcase listings specifically. But what they found strange is only about 10% of agents are actually doing it. Almost everyone wants to work with somebody doing it, very few are. Now the thing is you have to strategically get everything else still done, but if you can make time for this, it can make a big difference in your business. Now this one's about listings, but also consider using video marketing to stay in touch with your clients in a meaningful way. Maybe you send out a happy birthday video or a happy holidays video. Has anyone in here received a happy birthday video from somebody before? And does that not mean so much more than any just automated email that comes out? Like when you can see somebody's face and hear their voice, it feels like so much more of an emotional value. And the whole goal of this class is how do we create top of mind marketing so people choose us when it's ready to buy or sell? I challenge everyone in here, set aside 10 minutes a day, get it organized in your CRM, get notified when it's somebody's birthday, record a quick video and send it out. You will make a huge difference in your business if you do that. At a minimum, you should send out that normal email, but take it to the next level with this. Now, if you are sending anything out via email that's a video, you always want to make sure to include the word video somewhere in the subject line. Brainshark recently did a study and they found that by simply adding the word video somewhere, it increases the open rate by 19%, increases the click-through rate by 65%, which means they went to your website, and decreases unsubscribes by 26%. These numbers just go to show people love video. If you can take the time to record it, make sure you add the word video somewhere in the subject line. All right, last platform we need to talk about is website. So listen, if you zoned out, zone back in right now because this part is super, super important. The whole strategy of class has been how do we get people from all these different platforms back onto your website so you can start to capture leads and close some deals. So by a show of hands, how many of you in here have a website? Okay, how many of you are getting traffic and leads from your website? Okay, and if not, that's okay. We'll talk about why that is. How many of you would like to get traffic and leads on your website? Yeah, so first of all, if you don't have a website yet, I highly, highly recommend you get one. And there's a few different routes you can go to get one. The first route is more expensive, but you can hire like a custom coder to build this entire system. It's connected to the MLS, it has CRM, all of these bells and whistles. If you have it custom coded for you, you own that technology. The downside is it's about $15,000 minimum to have it built. So you own it forever, it's expensive up front. The other option is there's a ton of companies out there that have already built the technology. It's all in one technology connected to the MLS. The key difference is it's cheaper. You can pay a couple $100s a month, but you don't own that platform. So if 5 years from now you decided, I don't want to work with that company anymore, they'll export your data, but they're not going to pay to have it connected to the MLS. They're not going to pay to have the website hosted because that's their technology platform. Now, sometimes agents will ask, well, can I just go to Wix and make my own website? And technically, yeah, you could. You can go to Wix and you can easily make a website that has like headshot, bio, and information. But if you want people to be able to search for properties on there, which I highly recommend, you're going to need to purchase a plugin. That plugin is called IDX. A good IDX plugin is anywhere from $70 to $120 a month. And then you're probably going to want to have a CRM to capture leads coming in on the back end. Good CRM, anywhere from $50 to $100 a month. So you end up paying just as much as some of the all-in-one platforms, but you have to do all of the work to build the website, keep up with security and certificates. So I would only recommend that if you love graphic design and web design. Otherwise, go one of the first rounds. But whichever way you're looking to go, whether you're looking to improve your website or get a new one, these are the most important things you need to make sure you have. Number one is you need to have the ability for people to search for properties. Nobody wants to go to a real estate website and just read headshot and bio. They want to be able to do their own browsing, and IDX is what allows that. It stands for Internet Data Exchange. It connects your website to the MLS, so people can go on there. They can search privately and freely, just like your own independent Zillow. When they find something they like, though, they're still on your site, so all of those leads go to you. So property search number one, if people are saying good things about you, add all of those testimonials and reviews on there. Also, make sure it's mobile responsive. More than 85% of home searches begin on somebody's cell phone. So you need to make sure there's not like buttons overlapping other buttons. It's got to be optimized for mobile. Of course, you need a blog section. That's how you add fresh content and actually build up that SEO and that ranking. And then you also want to have lead capture everywhere, ideally going right into a CRM. Now in real estate, there's also this issue sometimes with portability. So those of you that have a website, is it through Presidio? Have you gotten ones outside? Do you invest in your own? How does that work here? Some through Presidio, some outside. Okay. So whichever route you're going, in real estate specifically, there are a lot of brokerages that have a broker provided website that they either give to agents with fees or it's included in some fees. And if you have a broker provided site, I always say definitely use it. But one thing to think about is, and I think it might be a little bit different here, but there's some brokerages that have just like a massive conglomerate platform. Keller Williams, for example, the Keller Williams brokerage site is at the top. And then within that, each agent has kind of a subdomain. And the nice part about that is it's a much lower cost. So agents can get a website at a low cost. But the downside is if an agent invests all of the time and energy into that one broker provided site, what would happen if that agent moved to Chicago and had to go to a different brokerage? What happens to the website? It's gone. So that's why I say if you have a broker provided site, certainly use it. But what I recommend is you should also have your own independent website that can go where you go and grow as you grow. I'm not saying you guys are going to leave Presidio, but if something did happen where your significant other got a great job somewhere else, you always want to kind of have that backup plan where if you have your website branded to Presidio, but if something ever changed, there's brokerage information that you have to update in the footer. But if it's your platform, it's still something that you can take with you. One other thing just to kind of consider is the direct SEO value that you get. If you're part of a massive platform conglomerate, because you're not at the top of the hierarchy, if you upload a blog on your website, it flows to the top. It doesn't give the SEO value to you. Whereas if you have your own website, you are the top. So every single content piece that you post directly benefits your SEO value and your name. So, but ultimately what it comes down to, a successful lead generating real estate website versus a not so successful one is this last point on here, static versus dynamic. Static is the bad one. Static means you spend all of this time building up your website. It's beautiful. It looks so good. You publish it and then it sits there. It sits in the search engines like a ton of bricks. Probably loses value as other ones jump ahead because there's nothing fresh going on. So the key to being successful is you need to make an active and dynamic website by number one, adding blog content consistently, and number two, tying it to what gets the most traffic and activity online, which is social media. So this chart is where it brings it all together. Up here, you got your website, right? Within that website, you have your embedded blog. All of those keywords giving all of that SEO value to your website as a whole because it's under the same domain. And then you take that blog and you share it across all of these social platforms. But where are they driving everyone back to? Your website. Thank you. We call that linking and backlinking. Taking one piece of information, sharing it across multiple sites that drives everyone back to you. But I got bad news. 9 out of 10 real estate websites are in that bad static category because what's the only thing changing on most real estate websites today?
The listings.
Listings, yeah. And remember what Pam talked about in the beginning, listings are database driven from the MLS. Google does not index database driven content because it's the same on every single person's site. So it can't say that the listing on your website gets more SEO value than yours. It doesn't index any of it. But by adding the fresh content consistently and tying this together, this is how you turn your social media and online presence from a toy into a powerful lead generating tool. Before I move on from this, any questions on website? Okay, last thing we need to talk about is a way to keep all of this marketing and all of these leads organized, and that's going to be through CRM.
How many of you here actually have CRM? I'm always asking you guys questions. All right, so CRM, content and lead management, super important in your business. I'm skipping a little bit, but automation is your friend, okay? For, just to keep track of your client base, your past clients, your current clients. Make sure that when you do have a CRM that you have IDX integration into the CRM. Okay, meaning if someone's you're working with someone, they're looking for properties, and you wanna put them into your CRM and send them similar properties every morning, kind of like probably a lot of you do for MLS. You know, make sure there's MLS integration so you can keep them all in one spot. Make sure if you have other lead sources, they're able to be, you know, parsed into that system as well. Again, one place that you wanna keep everything, make sure it's mobile. So that if you're on the road or you're not in front of your computer, that you know, that you wanna go into your CRM and do something, that it's mobile responsive. And then also make sure there are push notifications, meaning if someone is trying to get in touch with you through your CRM, you get a new lead, you need to make sure that you're notified because speed to lead is critical, right? So make sure there are push notifications, internet numbers that it should be included in the CRM so you can dial out from your CRM. It can track everything. You can text. Also, email marketing, drip email campaigns, super important. Video marketing, so you can either text video, email video. Also automated newsletters, okay? Automated newsletters are great, but they should be automated. I know agents that try to do newsletters themselves, and they do, but it takes them about 2 weeks to create the newsletters and then get them sent out. It's a lot of time. Automated newsletters are your friend again. And make sure there's reporting and analytics so you can keep track of what's going on with either your email marketing or what's going on with your client base. You can see who's doing what, and who's opening emails and all that. Okay. Any questions on CRM? Okay, so let's talk about newsletters. Okay, so benefits of newsletters. A lot of agents will send out newsletters, which I think is great. It's great to help build top of mind marketing, to stay in front of your sphere of influence. But you want to make sure that they're educational. Newsletters from agents that are not meant to sell. Okay, it's to stay in front of your sphere. Education, you can actually do like all the blog posts we talked about. You can put that on your newsletters. They're for relationship building and staying in front of your client base. Okay, and those should go out month to your sphere of influence. All right, so everything we talked about is your online presence, social media presence, but I want you to think about everything that you learned about here on your next listing appointment. We call this the moneymaker slide. I absolutely encourage everybody to take a picture of this. Okay, so what if you went on your listing appointment and you told your sellers, I'm going to advertise your properties and feature property on my website. I'm going to put your property on my Facebook business page. I'm going to post your property on my Instagram, put your property on X, advertise your property on my LinkedIn, blog about your home on my real estate blog. And oh, by the way, I'm going to create a video of your property. I'm going to share that throughout my entire social media. You think your clients would like that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. This is what the industry demands. This is what your clients demand. We get calls all the time, agents calling us saying, I need your help. I am losing business because I'm not doing this. And the other agents, and a lot of times they're younger agents, are losing business from it. Okay. So definitely start using this on your listing appointments. I actually have agents that don't, their brokers don't let them leave on a listing appointment without this in their listing portfolio. Not this.
All right, so we made it to the end. The reality is this is a massive, massive strategy. So let's talk about timing. There's two different ways that you can go about this. You could go about this as a transactional agent, which means you are doing everything. You're building your website, you're typing up your blogs, you're doing the research, you're doing all of this posting and emailing, or you can go about it as a logistical agent. So logistical agent is you kind of treat it like a business and you're the CEO. The best CEOs are not running the legal department and the marketing department and the customer service. They're overseeing their business. They're focusing on the things that they know their time is best spent doing, and they're investing in other things. Maybe they invest in AI or invest in technology, or they hire a marketing director or marketing assistant to take some things off of their plate so they have time to focus on the things that are going to make the biggest impact. So let's start with transactional agent. If you were to do all of this yourself, not have AI do it for you, not have a marketing assistant, how many hours per week do you think you should set aside to do this all and to do it well?
55.
Oh, 55 hours. Yeah, throw out some numbers. What other numbers?
Like 20.
20 hours? Does anyone think more than 20 hours?
For sure.
Okay, does anyone think less than 20 hours? I think the reality is there's different agents that have different tech experience. Some of you may be able to get it done a little bit quicker, but I would say on average, setting aside about 15 to 20 would be a good, safe time to make sure you're doing this all and you're doing it well. Listen, if you have that time available in your calendar, great, schedule it out. If not, you'll have to start to think about some ways that you can maybe have some of it done for you. Pam was talking about CRM. There are a ton of CRMs out there that have automation that can do follow-up for you, that can send out certain emails and certain content pieces. You can hire people to build a website for you. You don't have to become a good graphic designer. You can even hire a marketing assistant and pay them a low wage as an intern to help you with some of these things. Now, if you go about this as a logistical agent, does that mean you never have to worry about anything marketing related? No, absolutely not. Because there's still things that you have to do with your personality. You should be the one to record and send out happy birthday videos. You should be the one to post on your Instagram story so people can actually understand you and your personality. But there's other things that can be done for you. So as transactional agent, I would say more 2 to 3 hours per week focused on marketing. Transactional agent 15 to 20, logistical more 2 to 3. So you just decide how important is this for your business and which route do you want to go. All right, so how many of you in here are going to leave here and you are going to, number one, manage your website or build and manage your website. You're going to build and maintain your blog minimum of once per week. Post on Facebook 2 to 5 times per week. Post on X 2 to 3 times per week. LinkedIn, remember 2 to 3. Instagram should be 1 post on your profile, 2 to 3 up in your stories. Market to your sphere of influence using email, which is newsletters Pam was talking about. Once you have that checked off of your list, create video content where you can, and yet still have time to sell real estate. We laugh because the reality is like, this is a lot. But if you made it to the end of class and you're like, gosh, I see how important this is, but I don't have the time to do all of this. I don't have the time to respond to all of my emails right now, let alone add this in. Or you got to the end and you're like, I see how important this is, but I hate Facebook. I don't want to be the one to do this. Well, you're in luck. We do offer solutions where we can take as much or as little of this off of your plate as possible. So this is the end of the education CE portion of class. Not at all required that you stick around, but if you're in one of those boats where you see how important this is for your business and you're looking for a little bit of help, I'm going to go through a quick 5-10 minute demo. I'll show you what it is that we offer, and we do also have discounts today for the live event for anyone who's interested in getting a little bit of help. So first thing that we do is we build your own independent